Hi, everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. On this episode, delighted to be talking with someone who has been creating in comics for a while and someone who has a rather prolific set of books, a universe that they've created out in the world. By the name of Juiceman is the name of this particular book that I'm thinking of, and that is comics creator Scott James. Scott, thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me again. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is it issue 8? Is that right?
Issue 8. Yeah, we're in the middle. Well, not in the middle anymore, but towards the tail end of our issue 8 Kickstarter.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah, issue 8. And I'm moving towards issue 10, where all of them will be collected. The
Nice, nice.
6 through 10 will be then collected. So,
Cool. Well, we are currently recording this on October the 12th, so how long does the campaign continue is the question.
the answer is yes. I know that it's like, I think tomorrow there'll be 10 days.
Oh,
So
okay. All right, all right.
we got about 10 days left.
Sounds good. Sounds
So
good.
we've met our goal and we're in the process of unlocking some stretch goals. Character cards. I was a big fan of the 90s Jim Lee X-Men cards.
Yes, I
Uh,
remember those
so,
well.
I was just like, oh yeah, trying to think of stretch goals besides stickers. And I'm like, what if I did those character collector cards?
Love
So,
those. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and they've been fun doing them. So I've had a blast doing them. So it's neat, and it forces me to figure out the what is the exact power level of these
Mhm.
characters and how they relate and how they would juxtapose to one another, be it a character
Nice.
like Icelander versus Juiceman and so
Yeah.
on. So it's nice to be forced into that pocket of having to go, okay, yeah, he's this strong, or okay, agility is this much. So
Nice. I remember those very well. I had binders full of those cards. So you've literally got the stats, like the little, they used to do like Likert scales and all sorts of things.
yeah, I've got a bar scale on the
Nice.
back going, I think strength, intelligence, energy projection, trying to think, agility, stuff like that. So
Cool.
it's been fun. I like I said, I love those Jim Lee cards back in the day. So I'm like, yeah, I could do this. So we've
Hmm.
got four of them unlocked. We're about $60 from unlocking Dark Liege, one of the big baddies.
Hmm.
So uh, excited. Four unlocked. This will be the fifth one if we can get Dark Liege unlocked.
Nice, nice. Um, so for readers out there, before we get into kind of the inspiration and what the process has been like, if readers are not as familiar with the world of Juice Man and some of these characters that we're talking about, what would be sort of the title card, the intro, the brief summary?
He's Zach O'Neill, a paraplegic lab intern for the Phoenix Corporation. Lost his legs when he was younger, and so he delves into his academics and into the world of science, and he's working as a lab intern for underneath Dr. Julius Adenoid for the Phoenix Corporation, and he's developing a super serum having to do with nanites. And Zach sees it's got tissue rejuvenating properties. So Zach sees the opportunity to regain the use of his legs.
Hmm. Hmm.
So he injects himself with the serum. Unbeknownst to him, it fundamentally changes his DNA. And he's thinking he's going to regain the life that he had. He didn't realize he was going to start a whole new one as Phoenix Corporation's first juice man.
Yeah.
So
Nice, nice.
that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, yeah,
So
cool.
yeah, it's like a superhero soap opera.
Yeah, love that. And when I think of kind of the characters that you've created the world, I think about a lot of those 90s books that I just love, some of the team up books and some of those kind of assemblies of characters of multiple strengths and different types. So the Jim Lee reference is much appreciated as well.
I that was my pocket. So it's almost like Juice Man's almost like a love letter to those 90s comics. There's
Yeah.
humor, there's a little bit of everything that was encapsulated in those 90s books.
Yeah. Yeah. That was definitely a special time in comics, a strange time given the mid 90s and the things that were happening in comics then, but a beautiful time, especially the early days of the 90s.
Yes. There's probably less pouches and shoulder pads
Hmm, hmm.
than 90s comics. Oversized guns don't have many of the oversized 90s guns, or like I said, the shoulder pads or knee pad or shoulder pads, knee pads, pouches, but
Yeah.
it's definitely got that 90s feel.
As long as some cargo pants still make their way in somewhere, I'm good with it. I'm totally fine with that.
There you go, right?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe a shoulder cannon or two. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're a person who has worked in the world of comics. You're a person who has read the medium, appreciates it. What's it like to be able to unfold 8 issues of your own story, knowing that the goal is this right now 10 issue kind of arc for the second collected edition eventually?
It's mind blowing. I've done work for other people in comics, and
Hmm.
as enjoyable as that is and gratifying as that is, it's just something different when it's yours.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoy playing in other people's sandboxes, but when they're your toys, it's I look back and go, wow, I'm on issue 8. I When I first started it, I didn't know exactly where I was going to be. I was like, I want to do an ongoing.
Hmm.
Marcosia was interested in publishing the trade, no interest in doing the floppies. So I was like, well, I'll do the floppies then. I'll do the
Hmm.
individual issues and move towards that trade. So then I'm like, okay, well, where am I going? So plotting out each issue, how to get there, how to have that balance. It's just been fun. I never fancied myself a writer, but I'm enjoying it. You know, I always enjoyed really good stories,
Hmm.
uh, and I like those down moments in comics. You need when I was pen pals with Alex Toth, and when I would send him stuff, he would always, get on my case about leave time to breathe. The reader needs time to catch their breath.
Yeah.
Action is good, but you need those pauses or those breaks in that action to give that reader time to breathe and digest what's actually happening. And it makes those action scenes that much more powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. So Alex Toth was both an inspiration and it sounds like a mentor through the mail as well.
Yeah, I I happened to buy a postcard that he had done off of
Hmm.
eBay, and it had his address on it. And
Oh,
I
wow.
sent him a letter, and I sent him some of my stuff, and he sent it, and that started a 3-year pen pal relationship. The last 3 years of his life. So
Wow.
yeah, it was I've ticked him off many a time, and he'd tell me that we talked past each other, and then 2 weeks later, I'd get a new pen pal or postcard in the mail. Uh, how you doing, old boy? I'm like, oh, he's not mad at me anymore. So I would
Nice.
go, I'd send him some more stuff. We'd talk back and forth, and then he'd get mad again, and that went on for 3 years. So I truly cherish that correspondence and what he suggestions that he gave to me. It was always about simplification, simplify, 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 and then draw the heck out of the rest.
Yeah. Yeah. What would be cool? This is just to put this out there in the Kickstarter world. If you and some other folks somehow connected that had collaborated with him and had that kind of mentorship, then to put that together into sort of a collected volume, the through the mill writings of Alex Toth, just putting that out there,
Uh,
that would be
John
interesting.
Hitchcock did a doodle book it was, I forget what it was, Doodles or something like that, where he had all, sketches that Toth had sent him because John Hitchcock had known him for years.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to send him packages, and Alex would send him back drawings and doodles and letters and finished pieces, not finished pieces. And he put together over the years that he had been writing Alex just a nice little doodle book.
That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, in addition to Toth, any other nods that you would mention as far as narrative style, kind of the places you pull inspiration from?
I can't uh, express. I mean, Erik Larsen's been a great mentor,
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
influence. I mean, if you look at Juiceman, you can see it's heavily influenced by Erik Larsen. I've been fortunate enough to do a plethora of backup stories for him on Savage Dragon, and he's allowed me to play in his sandbox, and that's the sandbox I truly enjoy playing in. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm fortunate enough to be playing in his sandbox again for issue 275, the 100 pager that he's going to be doing here soon. So uh, I'm excited about that. So I'm doing that while I'm working on Juiceman and a whole bunch of different. I got irons in the fire, so it's
Nice,
it's
nice.
like trying to keep all these plates spinning.
And not a bad gig at all to have backup space with Mr. Larson as well. That's pretty cool.
No, he's always great to work for and work with, and he's so generous and generous to artists, letting them, play with his toys.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope I don't break them. You know?
Well, you have a history of working with him, I know, and I'm curious as you're looking at issue 8 and beyond, how have you grown? What are some of the ways you've challenged yourself as you've continued to tell this story, and anything that sort of unfolding this has allowed you to explore as a creator?
Yeah, this issue 7 was a lot of, for lack of a better term, a little bit more talking heads. Juice Man
Hmm.
was being interviewed. We got more of his history and how he became paralyzed and what led up to that and who was part of that. So there was a lot of narrative and a lot of, he was being interviewed by Chicago celebrity Man Cow, and leading up into this issue. Uh, One of the things that I did in that Kickstarter was appear and die. You could appear as a background character and die. Well, that took on a whole uh, being in itself, because
Hmm.
uh, originally I had this kill crazy character who first appeared in an issue of Savage Dragon. He was co-created by Gavin Higginbotham and myself. He's the main baddie in this issue. Well, he's got a couple henchmen. Well, I turned them into henchwomen because these ladies wanted to appear and die, but they wanted to have a larger role. So I ended up uh, spinning what these henchmen would be to create the sisterhood of seduction, that
Hmm.
the sidekicks or henchmen to kill crazy. So what originally I had planned for that story, it kind of morphed, and it actually turned out to be a better story in the long run, more action. Anytime I get to draw, babes looking around scantily clad is always fun. You know, uh, but yeah, they did the appear and die tier, and they wanted to have more of a monumental appearance than just, the way it was designed originally was you were going to be a background character that just had a cameo and then you died. Because
Hmm.
crazy is on, basically he's in a frenzy, and he just, you were going to be a person in the stands or in the audience watching the talk show, the interview of Juice Man, and you were going to be cannon fodder for Kill Crazy as he's on his killing spree.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
uh, these four kind of taken up a big chunk, but it led to a stronger, I think, more interesting story, more action-packed story. I gave more meaning for the introduction of Mantis, another character who makes his full debut in issue 8. So it's moving through 8, looking at it, it was like, okay, I painted myself into a corner. How do I get myself out as
Hmm.
immediately as possible? And it's surprising. I surprised myself. It turned out to be a really solid story. I'm
Nice.
excited about this one.
Cool. And I imagine those are both exciting and also terrifying moments as a writer and creator when you're saying, "Oh, I'm kind of in a corner here, and what do I do next?" Thinking about Stephen King's The Stand and having multiple characters, which he then said, maybe there's just an apocalypse and several of them die.
Well, and the thing is, it started out, I had two henchmen that Kill Crazy had. And then well, I've got a friend who wants, I want a friend who wants. And I'm like, okay, so now I have four henchmen that I have to introduce, try to give screen time to, and then dispatch while I still tell the story that I originally planned on telling. So, and fit it in within the 20 pages.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did it. So there was a lot of celebrating once I got to the end zone. So the pages are off, getting colored, and when things wrap up with the Kickstarter in about 10 days, once the funds come in, hopefully there's no issues with getting it off to press. So
Nice. Nice.
yeah.
Well, as a concluding two, maybe three-part question, we'll see. Any shout outs to colorist editors, folks that are sort of in the process that are part of the band that you'd like to mention? And then, of course, if I'm a listener out there and I want to find out more and support as you're going through the campaign and sharing more work, are there places online where I might go and do that?
Yeah, always give a shout out to Gavin Higginbotham, who edits he edits Erik Larsen's Savage Dragon as well. More
Mhm.
so, he's got like a photographic memory. So when it comes to continuity, he's on point. He's like, you can't do that because you did this. I was like, oh, okay. Uh, and he always finds my misspellings or my forgetting a comma
Mhm. Mhm.
here or
Mhm.
there. So I couldn't do it without Gavin Higginbotham. Um, I've got a new Brazilian colorist named Henry. He's doing a phenomenal job with this issue. Um, Nikos, who originally colored the 6 and 7 of Juiceman, just with coloring Savage Dragon, and he's got his own projects going on. He had to step away, so Henry has come in and done a phenomenal job. Um, I've got a Jeff Johnson variant cover in the works.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
Kickstarter. It's only limited to 50. Uh, I've got the thumbnail. He's in the process of getting that done. So hopefully within the next few days, I get the final. He's doing a pen, like a Bic pen drawing, and
Mm.
then I'm going to ink his Bic pen drawing, and then send it off to the colorist. So I'm expecting that hopefully in the next few days. So uh, Ken Albury, he's gracious enough to do the backs of. He's basically uh, I designed the background, but he put together all the stats and did all the typesetting for the back of those collector cards. And he
Cool.
also has a variant cover uh, for issue 8 as well. So, and I know I'm probably forgetting someone along the ways, and if I did, I'm sorry.
It's a collaborative effort. Lots
It is.
of
It is. It's a process. It's not there's many hats. I write pencil and ink. I knew that I would have to farm out some, otherwise I'd be forever
yeah.
doing this. And I can color. Yes, can I color? Yeah, but after looking at it through the penciling stage, the inking stage, the last thing I want to do is look at it through the coloring stage. I could sit there and noodle at it forever and still not be happy with it.
Yeah, yeah. That part of the artist and part of the creator saying, it's done. Someone else.
Ron Wagner, I was lucky enough to be his studio monkey there for a while,
Mhm.
back when he was doing Daredevil for Marvel, making copies, just doing stuff in his studio. Um, he always said there's got to be a point where you divorce yourself from it, where you
Yeah.
have to have a divorce and you just have to let it go.
Mhm.
And, just put it out there and then know that next time this is what you'll do better. Otherwise, you'll just sit there and just spin.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to let it go. This is the best I can do at this point, and that's it. So I mean, I look back at issue one going, yeah, I'm not happy with that life choice that I made there. As I look at the progression, I see the growth. I see, okay, with each issue, I'm getting stronger. The storytelling is solid. The more impactful images. This issue 8 is just a slobber knocker of a story. There's so much action, and I'm excited just because coming off of an issue where there's some action, but it's primarily a lot of uh, narration or progressing the story
Mhm.
leading to this issue. It's that issue that gives that room to breathe, so that this issue is like, wow,
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Wonderful creative planning. And that other part of the question was, of course, the space online, the places where I can go to connect to support.
you can Google Scott James Art. You can find me on the Instagram, the Book of Faces. Those are primarily where I hang out. You can find my stuff on DeviantArt. Um, yeah, those for the most part there. And then you can, if you're interested in backing the Kickstarter, you can go to Kickstarter and just type in the search bar Juiceman. Hard Target is the title of this issue. You could probably even find it just typing in Juiceman.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Scott, always glad to talk with you. Glad to have you back a second time, and the invitation is open as you're creating future issues.
I really appreciate it, and again, thank you for having me on. Anytime I can talk comics, I absolutely love it because I try to talk comics to my wife, and I might as well be talking comics to the dog because she's like, okay, I don't understand any of this. I know.
We'll
I
come
got
back anytime.
Yeah, I gotta get my geek out.
That's right. That's right. Well, many, many thanks, and glad to chat again.
Hey, thank you so much.